Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another Rookie Card Collector 123 video. In today's episode, we're going to continue our look at the true rookie cards for the National Baseball Hall of Famers. We're working our way in alphabetical order backwards from Z, and we are currently at the H's. Players' last names was beginning with H today. So the first player we're going to look at began his major league career as a player, but was more prominent as a Hall of Fame manager and would be elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame in that capacity as a manager, primarily with the New York Yankees of the 1920s. So this is going to be Miller Huggins. Huggins appears in this 1906 fan craze. This was a playing game set. They printed one for the American League players, one for the National League players. Huggins was playing for the St. Louis Cardinals National League Club at the time, so he appears in the fan craze National League set, as I mentioned, put out in 1906. And these cards had rounded corners, black and white, nice player images in the center, and then identifying the game sequence on the top and bottom of the card on the front. So Miller Huggins, 1906 fan craze National League true rookie card. Next player we're going to look at is a Hall of Fame pitcher, probably familiar to many of you, Carl Hubble. Hubble played for the John McGraw New York Giants, began his career with the Giants in the late 1920s, and was a dominating left-hand pitcher in the National League during the 1930s. Hubble famously struck out 5 consecutive American League All-Stars in the inaugural 1933 American League National League All-Star game, where he struck out Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Jimmy Fox, and I believe Charlie Gehringer, and one other American League All-Star, but 5 consecutive Hall of Famers for Hubble. So the true rookie card for Carl Hubble. Initially, this was cataloged as a 1928 issue. Since then, it has been proven to be a 1929 or 1930, or possibly produced over that 2-year span, based on the player and team designations where they're pictured on, and off-season trades, which happened after 1928. So Hubble is on this 1929-30. It's an R315. These came in strips of 3 cards, and you can hand cut them. They were vertical strips. So you had a top card, a middle card, and a bottom card, and you can cut those into individual cards, which was a typical way they're found. I've seen a few strips. They do exist, but very difficult to find. The 1928 R315s are not easy to track down, but they're not the rarest set out there. Populations on these probably somewhere in the maybe 50 or so cards. You know, some of the more popular players probably more, and some of the lesser known, more common players probably less. So Carl Hubble, true rookie, 1929-30, R315. Okay, next one we're going to look at is a mainstream set. This is 1955 Bowman. These were the cards with the TV screens surrounding a color player image in the center. This one is Cal Hubbard, who's actually in the Hall of Fame as an umpire. Hubbard is the only individual who's been selected to both the National Baseball Hall of Fame as well as the National Football Hall of Fame as a player in the NFL prior to his Major League Baseball umpiring days. So Cal Hubbard, 1955 Bowman umpire card, true rookie. Next up, we have a 1921-23 National Caramel card. This is Wade Hoyt. Hoyt was a star pitcher throughout the 1920s as well as into the 1930s. He played for the powerhouse New York Yankee teams with Ruth and Gehrig. Was a multi-time 20-game winner there. In his National Caramel card, like I said, produced from 1921 to 23, similar to the American caramel sets, which were more common during the 20s. The national caramels are much tougher to locate. Populations on many of these are more like in the 20 or so range. American caramels definitely more plentiful than that. So Wade Hoyt, true rookie card. Okay, next one we're going to look at is a 1917 Rogers Hornsby. Many regard Hornsby as the greatest right-handed hitter in baseball history, at least prior to the Negro League stats being added to the Major League Baseball record books anyway. Hornsby was primarily a second baseman early in his career. He would play some first base um, as well, and also would become famous as a player manager throughout the late 20s and then throughout the early 30s before his playing career ended. But Hornsby came up to the Cardinals in 1916 and was one of the all-time leaders in WAR in baseball history, especially for a middle infielder, as an incredible accomplishment and just a fantastic player. So Hornsby appears in 1917, as I mentioned, as his rookie card, and this exact same image was used on four different cards that season. Those were the Boston Store, the Collins McCarthy, the Wheel Baking, and the Standard Biscuit. The Wheel Baking and the Standard Biscuit are the two rarest, and the Boston Store would be a little more common than those two, and the Collins McCarthy would be the most common. That being said, the Collins McCarthy population report, I believe, is still under 10, and the others are all probably in the 5 or below range. So 1917, the one pictured here is the Boston Store, but you could really pick any of the four Rogers Hornsby rookie cards. The only difference is the advertising on the back. Next up, we have a 1909 to 1911 Colgan's Chips. These were the round cards that look like a disc, and these were black and white, and they had the player's name and team designation in a circular format around toward the edges of the disc, with the player image in the center. This one is picturing Harry Hooper. Hooper was with the Boston Americans. Not sure if they were called the Red Sox yet at that point. But Hooper was a great outfielder. He played with Tris Speaker, the same outfield with the Red Sox. Hooper came up around 1909 and would be with Boston through the 19 teens, helping the Red Sox win multiple World Series championships when Babe Ruth was beginning his career there. So, true rookie Harry Hooper, 1909 to 11, Colgan's Chips. Okay, next player up we have is a Negro leaguer, and this one is going to be Pete Hill. Pete Hill appears in this 1910 Punch Cigars, which was a super rare Cuban tobacco card release. He actually appears in a 1909 Cuban release, even rarer than this one, which is hard to believe, but it's a 1909 Cabañas, also to Cuban tobacco card company. That one, I believe there's only maybe two known. I think at the time I published this book, though, I think there was only one of those cards known. And since I don't count unique one of a kind cards as rookies, I eliminated that from the rookie designation here and went with the 1910 punch. But either one of those populations are only a couple. In today's market, these would be six-figure cards if one came up for auction. Pete Hill was a great Negro League outfielder. Came up in the mid 1900s and would play up until around 1920, early 1920s. He was a star for Rube Foster's Chicago American Giants, even in the pre-Negro League days in the 19 teens. So 1910 Punch Cigars or 1909 Cabañas Pete Hill. Next up, we have a much more mainstream recognizable card. This one is 1957 Topps. This is Whitey Herzog, who began his career with Washington as a player and would become elected ultimately to the Hall of Fame as a manager. He managed the Kansas City Royals, St. Louis Cardinals, won World Series with them, and one of the all-time great Major League Baseball managers, 1957 Topps, Whitey Herzog. Okay, next one we're going to look at is a 1932 Chicago Denby Cigars. So this is a Chicago Cubs release. It pictured all Chicago Cubs. Denby Cigars, obviously a cigar company, and this was put out in 1932. And this one pictures Billy Herman, who was a rookie second baseman, and he came up with the Cubs in that early 30s time frame and would play with them through the 30s. Played with the Dodgers in Brooklyn in the 40s, and elected to the Hall of Fame as a second baseman. So 1932, Chicago's Denby Cigars, Billy Herman, true rookie card. These are very tough to come by. Populations on these probably in the 10 range. Okay, next one we're going to look at is a modern card that probably everybody recognizes. 1980 Topps Rickey Henderson. Mainstream card. Henderson, of course, the all-time stolen base leader. And not going to say a whole lot about him or his card. I think everybody's pretty familiar with that. Okay, next up we have a card that's similar scenario to the Rogers Hornsby. This is Harry Heilman. Heilman also compiled one of the highest career batting averages in MLB history. I believe it was 342. And he appears again on the four different 1917 rookie card issues, which was the Boston Store, the Collins McCarthy, the Wheel Baking, and the Standard Biscuit. This one here is the Boston Store, but the fronts of all of them are identical. The only difference, again, would be the advertising on the back. So Harry Heilman, great Detroit Tigers hitter from the 19 teens, 1920s. 1917 Boston Store, true rookie. Okay, up next we've got another umpire. A few umpires today. We've got Doug Harvey, who's a more modern major league umpire. I remember Harvey umpiring games when I was following baseball as a kid in the 70s. And Harvey's pictured here in this 1984. This is sort of a police issue. It was put out by the San Diego Padres. And it's got Smokey the Bear as the sponsor for the set. And Harvey's pictured with doing a safe call next to Smokey the Bear on this 1984 San Diego Padres safety set. Okay, next up we have Gabby Hartnett. Hartnett was a great catcher, primarily for the Chicago Cubs. Began his career in the early 20s and would be with Chicago throughout the 20s. And was part of the famous Babe Ruth called shot in the 1932 World Series against the Cubs. So rookie card for Hartnett would be this 1922 American Caramel. These are designated as the E120 in the American card catalog. There's also another card with the exact same image, also produced in 1922, W573, I believe. That one is a strip card that came in strips of 10, and Hartnett has the same image on the front, and the back is blank instead of the back on this one, which would have the American Caramel advertising on it. Okay, next player we're going to look at, another one who was elected. He was a player, but was elected as a manager to the Hall of Fame, and this is Bucky Harris. So Harris is pictured here in the 1921 exhibits card. This was one of the few horizontal exhibit cards from that year. 21 was the first exhibit card release. After that, they would produce cards from the 20s all the way through the mid 60s. These are the cards that came in the exhibit vending machines. You would put a nickel or a penny in the machine and turn the dial, similar to like a gumball machine, and a card would come out. And you did not know which card you were going to get until the card came out. So 1921 exhibit, Bucky Harris, true rookie card. Okay, next one we're going to look at is a more modern card, mainstream card. This is 1956 Topps. This is William Harridge. Harridge was the president of the American League at that time. And 56 Topps produced cards of both league presidents, which was Harridge in the American League and Warren Giles in the National League, who we're probably going to look at in our next episode. So both of them came out in the 56 Topps set. And the last card we're going to look at today is going to be the oldest one that we look at today. It's going to be Ned Hanlon, who was initially a pretty good ball player for the Detroit National League Club in the 1880s. He's pictured here on his 1887 to 1890 Old Judge tobacco card. These are cataloged as N172 in the American card catalog. Hanlon would go on to his greatest success in the 1890s as a manager for the Baltimore Baseball Club, a team that would have at one point 6 Hall of Famers in their lineup or on their roster at the same time, including Hanlon himself. So Ned Hanlon, 1887 to 90, Old Judge, true rookie. Hanlon, as just about everybody else in the Old Judge set, has multiple poses and variations. So he's got several different cards in that Old Judge series. So that's going to wrap up today's episode on the true rookie cards for the National Baseball Hall of Famers. We'll continue again next time. We're up to the player's last name beginning with G, and we'll get some more interesting cards to look at. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a great day, and I'll catch you guys again on the next one.